very powerful is because it is very accessible. So creating a team site dedicated to, let's say there's a project spinning up and you need to report, different team members have to report status updates, and then there's some announcements and there's some documents, supportive documents associated with it. The ability to create a site that pulls all of this information together and puts it into one easily accessible portal almost, if you will, and have it done by someone more in the business unit and not someone in the IT department is where the power really comes into play. Because now you start to see the unlimited use of this, whereas within SharePoint, it becomes more difficult because you're always going back to IT to help build this out, and you need a developer to keep it going.
True. Yeah,
so that's where the power really comes into play.
Okay, so here's the scary part, okay? I'm playing the territorial game that most of the IT nation plays. Well, wait a minute, if you're telling me that the business people inside the company can use this to do what they need to do, where do I play?
Well, that's where you get to the value add that we were just talking about. Because as you become more of an expert and a trusted advisor, you're starting to work with the business units to help them figure out those business processes. So you, like you were saying, more shifting from I'm an engineer to I'm more of an analyst, helping you understand how, okay, here's sites, here's what we can do. By the way, do you know that this gadget can actually, instead of just having an embedded spreadsheet, we can take this gadget and more graphically represent the data so anybody in the team can look at it and quickly say, oh, I know what the status is on this now. And so you move out of just turning knobs and levers to helping them sit with the business unit and say, okay, now we're going to help you figure out how to actually leverage this to get it done what you're trying to get done.
Wow. Sounds too good to be true.
It sounds like it until you try it and say, wow, it really is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's exactly it. And I think it's, we find use cases from customers, and we do case studies with customers. We find use cases that we're not even using, we're doing that internally. Like we've been using apps for a long, I would say we're the longest user since we were using it 6 months before it was even publicly available.
Right.
But it's those best, I don't want to call it training or best practices, but it's those kinds of insights that people have into, I can use this in this particular way, and it can give me step function improvements in productivity or in in efficiency and those kinds of things that I think, it's hard for us to tell customers, you should do this, this, and this, because it's so much of it is ground up, and that's where I think is the combination when we talk about the IT nation being. First of all, technology enthusiasts, right? And then, and so the ability to kind of dig into features as they come out. We have one of the things that we have is a feed of features. With the Google Apps Suite, we had over 100 feature enhancements. Some of them entirely new services. A couple months ago, we added Google Groups discussion group service, but then a lot of them smaller features and things like that. One of the things I tell new partners immediately off the bat is subscribe to that feed, and because it's literally, 100. It's like multiple per week.
Yep.
We basically just give you here's what just came out. Here's a little more about it, and here's how to try it. And I find a lot of partners dig right in, try it out, and then they know from conversations that they had with maybe a client last week or 6 months ago. Oh, I know these guys were asking about this, and well, let me get back to them and say, this is how we can we can pull this into the business.
Precisely. And that's where the stickiness really comes into play, because now you're going with to the client and say, hey, there's this new solution out, and here's this way to solve this pain point that you've articulated. And at that point, then the client's looking at you more and more as, hey, you're the trusted advisor, you're sitting here with my team, you're really helping drive our ultimate business goals forward faster and in a much more cost-effective way. And so it creates, like I was saying, it just creates that much more value. It allows an organization like Augusto to continue to, hold a premium price and not just become commoditized in a marketplace.
Differentiator.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, you're becoming, I guess I would argue that a lot of people that are in the technology space that our smartest technicians could very easily transform, without much effort to becoming, business analysts.
Yeah.
If they've got a degree, a 4-year college degree, and if hopefully in business or information systems, certainly, I mean, that's your perfect person. You could take kids straight out of school that have an IS degree, right, or data processing of some sort degree, and they would be great trainees for this. Right. But I don't think you need to do that. I think we've got a lot of technicians that can just pick this thing up and run with it. it almost reminds me of way back in the day. My dad, lifelong IBMer, and what IBM did in the early days when there were no computers and mainframes were just hitting the scene, they had to find talent to be able to implement and maintain these. So they figured out, just really smart math. If you're really good at math, you would be good at this. And so they had a basic test, and they just took math people and gave them a little bit of extra training and turned them into data processing people. And it's almost like, okay, roll forward to what we're talking about here today. I think for the IT nation, what we're going to find in general, whether it's Google or another app, you're going to have to be able to take your technicians,
right,
add a new layer of knowledge on top of them, and transform them into a business analyst. And I don't think it takes a lot of effort.
It really doesn't. One of the things I've been doing with Augusto is once a month we sit down, everybody comes in, and I sit down with all the engineers, and we just go through, okay, here's how to read a P&L. These are why cost of goods sold is important. These are what our clients are looking at. And here's a lot of times where we fit in with this. And it doesn't take a lot of time before all of a sudden light bulbs start going off in engineers, and they see how the various projects or their support services end up enabling our clients' organizations grow. And with that, then you can ideas start coming out of it, like, boy, if we did this for this client, here's something that would be really cool. Or here's a pain point that I keep seeing over and over because these tickets come in. I think if we use this, like a Google spreadsheet, we can actually solve something that keeps having these recurring tickets. And if you're in the managed service business, especially if you're in the fixed fee side of managed service business, lowering support calls is where it's at. So having your engineers starting to think through different processes and different, more thinking like on the business side of things to then ultimately over here drive more managed service profit is where it's at.
I got to tell you, you know what I would do? And I'm going to have to go back in our IT solution provider business in the Tampa Bay area. I can guarantee you we're going to start trying this out. But I think what's out there to be done is, you provide that business analyst side. You're going to have, the client's still going to have an infrastructure under their roof. It might start changing in nature. It might start being netbook computers. It might start being a lot more mobile devices, but there's still an infrastructure that we need to maintain. It's never going to go away. They have to have something to talk to the internet, okay? They're still going to have their line of business solution under their roof. That's not moving out into the cloud anytime soon. I think there's an opportunity to create a whole practice inside of your company. I would call it, a Google practice. Call it a Google practice, a Google Apps practice inside your business to take technicians, turn them into business analysts, or just go hire business analysts, or just go hire an MBA straight out of school. It's not like they're that expensive.
Not in this market.
Not in this market. And start that practice area inside of your business. But I think the best way to do it is to start yourself with Google. Try it. See if you like it.
Yep. And when we go through our training internally, I mean, that's where we start. It's like, okay, here's our Google Apps platform. Jump in and start playing with it. Take an internal project that we've been working on and figure out, leverage Google Sites to pull it together and start doing the collaboration. I mean, basically, we're talking about eating your own dog food.
Right.
And that's, I think that's really key and crucial to really begin to understand the power of it is that you're using it yourself within your own organization.
You guys do that all the time. You call it dog fooding, right?
We do it all the time, and then for
you actually call it dog fooding?
We do call it dog fooding.
Yeah, they kind of coined the term dog fooding here at Google.
Yeah, I don't know if we coined the term, but we've certainly been doing it for the whole time that I've been here, and we do it for all of our products, for our consumer-facing products, certainly.